Found myself having a bit of a meltdown this morning. You see, loneliness shows itself in many layers, and sometimes you ask yourself, well, why am I feeling that way when, basically I'm in a resort almost of some sort in France. Beautiful weather, amazing surroundings. I've been now coming up to my second, maybe third week of having the privilege of being able to cycle around France. So why suddenly did I have this meltdown with my wife where I was just crying to her? I mean, come on, I was like sobbing to my wife saying, I miss you, I feel lonely, I feel we should be doing this together. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I on the phone crying to my wife at 58 years of age and thinking, Paul, this is just surreal. There's no shame in that either. There's no shame in sharing that emotion with your wife and letting her know that you're missing her. But then I think, why? We were together 20 years, why? And I think there's multiple reasons. Firstly, let's understand loneliness. You can be in amongst, a climate where you are constantly surrounded by people you would consider your friends, you consider your family, or are your family. You can be in environments every single night where you are amongst crowds of people. You're in a high social environment, but yet within that you can feel, incredibly lonely. And here's why is because loneliness comes not because you are actually isolated. Now that's different. Isolation and loneliness, let's not put those together. That's very different. Loneliness comes from, the emotion of loneliness comes from a place where you are surrounded by people that don't align with you, that don't share commonality. Now that doesn't mean that, commonality isn't where you go out with a group of people and you do the same thing every night. That's not commonality. And I'm talking about emotional commonality, not physical or doing or event commonality. I'm talking about commonality on an emotional level where you are surrounded by people that share the same philosophies, outlook, values, and you're in an environment where you can comfortably share those values without any kind of language barrier, any kind of ego, any kind of shame, any kind of dysfunction. So you're in an environment where you're with people that there is total relaxation and a feeling where you feel in that environment you are at home, even though you're not at home, if you know what I mean. And that's what I felt here in France. I spoke about isolation in my last video or so, but actually it's not. I'm not isolated, and the loneliness has come from a place where I feel there's no commonality around me. I've met people and had an amazing time with some people I've met, but I think the whole spectrum of me being in France, from absolutely not being able to read a single signpost, absolutely not being able to read anything at all because it's all in France, and not being able to communicate. My app isn't in any way at all functioning the way I thought it would have. It's not helping me really. I spent the last 2 days traveling with Veru his name is Veru from Switzerland. He spoke French, and he's kind of saved me so many times these last 2 days and helping me out communicate. But now he's gone his way, I'm going my way. That feeling of loneliness superseded me this morning, and I'm crying to Deb on WhatsApp saying, this isn't right, I shouldn't be here on my own, but I made this choice to be here. This isn't a feel sorry for, it's an understanding. It's understanding that loneliness doesn't have to be because you're on your own. Loneliness doesn't come from a place of nobody being around you. Loneliness also comes from a place where there are people around you, too many people in effect, that are around you but just don't align with you. alignment. What is alignment? You know, when you think about aligning with another person, people often say, you know, they're my soulmates and my soul friends and all these kinds of things. But you know when you meet when you're around the right people, because the ability to share your mind, the ability to share a conversation, the ability to, the freedom, I should say, to share your mind, the freedom to share your conversation is so natural and so organic that you find the reach of the conversation, the expansion of the conversation is just immense, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, I put myself in 2 days at this kind of resorty place. Tomorrow I'm gonna get some footage in, got some sightseeing in for you guys. But I'm only coming to my 3rd week, and I'm like out for 3 months. I'm like, come on, Paul, can I do this? The truth is, I don't know. The truth is, I just set myself what I thought was a realistic goal of being able to travel solo on my own across basic France. And what I mean by that is I'm following the Uvela. I'm not going off track. I'm not going wild. I'm not staying in, I'm not wild camping. I'm staying in campsites all the time. So there's no big stretch here other than, I guess, you know, following the GPS and letting that do the work for me. So why am I this early in wondering whether I want to go home early? Why am I asking myself, you know, do I want to be home by the end of August instead of the end of September? I mean, most people say, man, make the most of it, you know, and yeah, I completely get that. So what part of me is waking up in the morning thinking, maybe I need to go home? What part of me is, you know, swinging my tail in between my legs and thinking, man, this is not for me? But why is it not for me? All these questions. Sometimes I find vlogging, doing a video, so hard also. When I'm on the bike, the truth being, I love being on the bike and I love doing what I do, but I have to be stimulated by the surroundings. France is beautiful, but also quite bland at the same time. So I'm realizing that in order for me to vlog and create an attraction in my material, I have to purposefully go to, you know, sightseeing, interesting places for you guys. And that for me is also, I guess I'm gonna have to learn to do that, because in many ways I find that bit of me hard to do. And here's why is that I think, oh, you know, how do I know if the audience wants to see this particular place? You know, I don't. And that stops me then. I freeze. I get full into imposter syndrome. I shouldn't be going there. They don't want to see that. My audience want to see that. The YouTube don't want to see that. It goes on and on around in my head. Then I freeze. So then I speak to Deb, and Deb says, Paul, you know, take a day or two, relax. You have to relax. You're forcing your videos. You're forcing your conversations. She said, you know, you don't do small talk, so don't try it. Don't do it. You know, if you're out and you see something that you like, then film it and take pictures of it and share it with your audience. But if you know, if it's not something that resonates with you, then don't do it, because you're forcing the videos for your audience, and it doesn't make sense to do that. So I guess I've been at that crossroads for a day or two, and wondering, you know, do I pull the camera out? Is this the right place? So I'm going to work on that. But I'm sharing with you today, you know, the reality really of traveling and vlogging. You know, I've watched people do it on YouTube for many years, and I've thought, God, you know, that's something I know I could do. I know I'd love to do. But I think the reality of it is that it does include a lot of small talk. You know, oh, I saw this, I saw that, and I'm like, I find that so bloody hard to do that small talk. But I'm going to start tomorrow. Not the small talk, but I'm going to start bringing a shape in to the channel that, to my against my grain almost promotes a little bit of travel in it. My core is deep dive and my core is life patterns. That's what I see, that's what I love. So yeah, and we met people on the trip here that I've had conversations with, and it's been in my element. But there must be more to me than just deep diving, do you know what I mean? Small talk must be healthy somewhere. But I have to say, I just didn't, I guess I didn't realize that one, there's so many sides to doing videos for YouTube, and as much as I want to just keep at the deep dive stuff, actually it's not enough. I got to include small talk, and small talk that I hope, or I insist on myself, bring some quality also to the videos. Yeah, that's kind of where I am today.